Wait, they were like, what?
And I was like, boss, please.
Hey everyone, welcome to Boss Please. I'm Megan.
I'm Jillian.
And so we do have an announcement for you guys, and I definitely don't want it to be something sad, even though it is bittersweet. But we're at the end of the year, and it comes a time for reflection and reevaluating. And Jill and I have been talking about this for the past couple months, and we've come to the conclusion, though we love doing this podcast, sometimes things just plateau and they kind of run its course. And we've decided that for right now, this will be the last episode of Boss Please. Jill,
I think what the important thing for you guys to know is that we have had over 20,000 listeners, which we are so grateful for. Every single one of you that has shared our episodes, has taken away something from these episodes, who felt like they've gotten to know us over these past 2 years. Mm-hmm. We are just unbelievably grateful. Megan and I actually had a conversation, and we want to be honest and transparent with you guys because we feel like we owe it to you since you've invested time in us and we've invested time in this. And we had a conversation about 6 months ago, kind of deciding where the podcast was going to go. And we both agreed that in December, we were going to reevaluate. And for two young professionals that spend a lot of time at work that they get paid to do, this really just wasn't feasible anymore. It's a really big time commitment. And although we love doing it, we really, really wanted to see it grow. Yeah. And we wanted to get brand deals, and we wanted our Instagram to grow, and we had all of these really big dreams. And after 2 years and pretty much, we've put in a lot of effort into all of these things, we just really haven't seen the needle move.
Yeah.
So we've ultimately had to make the choice. Now, that is not to say that we will not be bringing you some type of content in the future. Megan and I have talked about continuing our Instagram page, which we love. We've created a special type of audience on there, and we love sharing with you guys. We love giving you updates on what we're doing. But we also might bring you separate interviews. There have been a lot of changes recently in our lives. Meghan has got an amazing job that has her traveling on the weekends, and that's when we usually record the show. So it's become a really big challenge, and we've tried to work through it. I don't know. What else do you have to say, Meg?
We know that consistency and grinding and hustle is everything. And we really can say that we've dotted all of our I's and crossed our T's, and we've connected to so many amazing women and amazing people that have listened to our podcast. And don't get me wrong, those messages and DMs that we get on Instagram saying that, you don't even know Jill and I, and you've stumbled across our podcast and it inspires you, and you listen to it every day on your way to work, and it keeps you going. Like, that's what we lived for. That's what kept this podcast going. But it just comes to a point, and I really do have to put my hands up and give it to Jill. Yes, I do a lot of the social, and she does it too, but she really, really takes a lot of time for this podcast. She does the edit. She basically does everything. And I know it was getting a lot for her too. And I think for me, it was hard because I didn't have anything consistent a lot of the times, that I was scrambling for what was going to help me pay my rent, and that was taking up more of my focus. And because there were so many things I had my hands in, it was hard for me to categorize in, not based on love, but importance of what's going to get me to the next thing. And the podcast, a lot of times for me, just took a back seat. Embarrassingly, because I knew Jill had a good hand on it, but also just because it was just like, we weren't making any money from it. And it's hard to keep going on something that you're not seeing a huge incline. Like our numbers stayed the same, and it's a very saturated platform. A lot of people have podcasts, so we did think about going to different outlets and pitching, but those outlets want numbers and those outlets want stats, and we didn't have those to keep this going. So we're being very real and honest with you guys right now. And
yeah, because I know a lot of people do this and they just decide to fall off and they're done making the commitment. But we really were thoughtful 6 months ago and in deciding, like, okay, this is going to be the last go. Let's give it our all and let's see if we can really make some change. And we're so grateful for all of you sharing. And we hope that you continue to share. The podcast will still be available on all platforms to listen to.
Yeah.
There are over 100 episodes with some amazing women.
Oh my gosh.
And if you haven't listened to all of the episodes, please go back and listen to them. We have taken away so much from this experience that I think we wanted to end all of this on that note.
Yeah.
And just what we've learned, what we've loved. And I know for myself specifically, we've interviewed so many amazing women, but it has brought me closer to those women in my life. I mean, we get all of our guests organically. There were a couple of instances where, a PR person reached out to us and said, hey, I have this guest, let's bring her in. But really, it was friends of me, friends of Meghan's, friends of Melinda's, and just kind of talking with them and them sharing their stories. And it just made me realize how many badass women I have in my life. Like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this experience. I have learned so much. I have learned how to now produce and edit and mix audio, which I didn't know how to do. So, like, that's amazing. And I've taught it to myself, and I've gotten better at social media through Meghan. And I'm grateful for the experience and for the connection.
That's so true. So true. I'm so grateful to now be connected with so many women that did come from you or Melinda. And I think what I'm most grateful for, regardless that this didn't take off the way we wanted to, there were so many times that I'd be sitting across the table from someone that we were interviewing. And it's so easy to think, wow, this person is so successful. But really what we wanted from this podcast was the journey of how that woman got to where she was, and the struggle and the hustle. And so many times the stories resonated with me, and I'm sure you too, Jill. It's like, oh my gosh, how they're feeling right now or how they were feeling before they got to their success is exactly how I'm feeling right now. So I know I'm not alone. I know that I'm not alone in feeling a little bit lost right now. I know I'm not alone in feeling like, oh my gosh, like, when is it going to happen? Because they were the lights at the end of the tunnel. They were what your future or what my future hopefully is.
Or they're still going through it.
Or they're still going through it. And but their fight and their hustle refuels you. Every time we would have interviews and Jill and I would sit together, it always reignited my fire. I always left here feeling so inspired. And that's what I'm thankful for. And I'm also thankful for getting to do something with my best friend, like partnering on a business project,
making a commitment,
doing something creative together. But also too, even though you're working with your best friend, you also don't want it to be the only time you see your best friend. And I think Jill and I have done a good job at putting the podcast to one side and also our friendship on another side. But a lot of times we see each other and catch up when we're doing this podcast. So it will be nice to, once, this is put to rest, that we will be able to see each other, I hope, double and more frequently in just very non-working settings, I suppose.
And for those of you who have consumed the podcast, enjoyed the podcast, thank you, thank you, thank you. We so appreciate all 20,000 of you who have downloaded episodes, who have shared them, who have enjoyed them, who've learned from them. And this is not the end for Meghan or myself. We are really kicking things off in adulthood.
We really are, yeah.
And doing a lot of big things. So if you'd like to keep up with us, you can follow us still at the Boss Please handle on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook on our page. But also just find us on regular old social media. I'm at Jillian Leff on Twitter and on Instagram, and on Facebook I'm at Jillian Leff Official.
And for me on Instagram, I'm at it's Meghan Ryan with an H, Meghan. And then I literally don't use Twitter, so don't try to find me on there. And then you can just friend me on Facebook, Meghan Lamontagne, or I believe my page is still The Nostalgic.
But yeah, we would love to still keep in touch with you, which is why we named this episode It's Not Goodbye, it's a See You Later. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And yeah, we'll see ya. When we see ya.
It's so sad. No, it's not sad. No, seriously though, Jill, thank you for all your hard work that you put into it. No, but seriously, thank you. Like you really took this and ran with it, and I'm so appreciative for you. And all of you fans.
Yes.
So we'll see you soon. More exciting things to come in our separate lives, and maybe one day this will reignite.
Yeah. Boss Please, out.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.